Welcome to Money Laundering 101. This is Lesson 5, the 3 stages of money laundering. Okay, many of us have seen movies or TV shows where counterfeiters throw currency into large dryers with poker chips or dice or some other items in there to make sure that when the bills come out they have the appearance of having been in circulation for quite a while when in fact they've just been printed. Well, that has nothing at all to do with money laundering. And I also don't want people to confuse stages, as we're talking about the 3 stages, with steps or transactions. Successful laundering, especially in large dollar amounts, is much more than 1, 2, 3 done. While some transactions can be very simple, others are complex and take a great deal of time and effort in order to avoid detection. And that is the ultimate goal, to avoid detection. It doesn't do the criminal any good to move and change money if it can easily be traced and then seized. And it is a game in which the tools and tactics are constantly changing and evolving. If you go back to our first lesson, what is money laundering, you'll remember that the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, had a 3-part working definition. Each part basically defined one of the stages. The first stage is placement. It's the introducing of the illicit funds into the financial cycle. Now, even if the funds were in a bank or a brokerage account, as in the case of embezzlements or frauds, it is that first step as illicit funds that we will view as placement. However, the most common example of placement is the drug dealer who needs to get large quantities of small currency bills into the banking system. The next step is layering. The moving and transferring of funds in order to disguise the origins and true ownership of the money. This phase can be the most important and the most difficult. It truly separates the pros from the amateurs. Here the money can change accounts, form, ownership, country, etc. It can go into and out of trusts and shell companies. It can buy or sell real estate or hard goods. It can move through different jurisdictions, anything to confuse or eliminate a paper trail. And finally, there is the integration stage. This is when the criminal takes economic advantage of the illicit funds, and they appear to have come from legitimate sources. Maybe the drug dealer uses the funds to buy a mansion, or a high-end car, or a yacht, or even planes to move drugs and other money. In the case of the planes, they'll likely be bought through a front or a shell leasing company, who will in turn rent it to a front or a shell freight company, so that when the plane is ultimately impounded by law enforcement somewhere in the world, the plane cannot be traced back to the dealer. So there we are. Basically, the 3 stages of money laundering: placement, layering, integration. I want to thank you for your attention today. If you have any other questions, please visit my website at www.aml-assassin.com. Thank you again.